going into this, Delanie Walker is one of my favorite teammates of all time. By far, like the guy, the way he handled himself in the locker room, the person he is, how he handles the transition from going to the 49ers, being behind Vernon Davis for 6 years, playing the special teams, being a utility guy, coming to the Titans, doing 3 straight Pro Bowls. I have nothing but the utmost respect for Delanie Walker. But the title of this article says, former Titans tight end Delanie Walker playing in Tennessee hurt my value when it comes to accolades. And I believe it doesn't say specifically in here, but obviously he's referring to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Played 14 years in the league, made 3 Pro Bowls, has good numbers. I'm not going to talk about, you want to read that?
I'll read it. So he's quoted, "I honestly want to win a Super Bowl. I feel like that helps you in your status once you retire from this game. It's sad that it's something you got to have in order to be recognized sometimes. Again, me being in Tennessee, and I hate to say this, but it hurts my value when it comes to awards and accolades because I played in Tennessee. You can look at some of the greats like Eddie George and Steve McNair. They didn't get their coats in the Hall of Fame yet because they didn't win a Super Bowl and because they played in Tennessee. If I can win a Super Bowl, maybe that'll help me, and then we'll go from there."
What do you guys think about that as Titan fans? Not you, Bloss.
Kind of selfish.
It's kind of selfish?
I think he's talking about like a 2014 Tennessee team, like when you first came to Nashville.
I agree with that.
Shit was a lot different. And no one gave us any credit, no respect. And still to this day, like last season, like we do huge things on the field, and then the following week, it's like the national media like never counts us in for anything. They're always saying that, you know, we're just kind of like a growing team. We have some quarterback that may be able to do something, then we have a Derrick Henry. And that's it. And now, especially like a 2014 team would have never been able to lock down Julio Jones or any player.
No, yeah.
So I think he's not wrong in saying this. I think he's more just kind of like hurt a little bit that he didn't get the credit he deserved, because when he was with Marcus, man, he was incredible. He became a all-star with us.
Right.
So like in his time with the Titans, there probably was a point where he was at, you know, I don't want to say Hall of Fame caliber tight end, but he was one of the fucking best in the league. And now with the team we have, it's like, I don't know if you can really say that anymore, because we're getting to like, you know, we got a Monday night game this year at home with the Bills. It's like we're starting to get that credit on.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel him from both sides, and like you said, I love him. He's been a great Titan, and it's sad to see him go. But it's also sad to like hear these things when he says stuff about the team when he was a very respected player and we loved him, but
It's well said, Jack. I mean, you should have had a mic on you the whole time, but
yeah.
someone throw it one.
I mean, I didn't know you were cooking up that heat. People probably just thought you were going to drop a one-liner.
Yeah.
Like Garrett just goes, "Oh, that's selfish."
Yeah, and Jack came with some nice stuff.
Yeah,
there.
he did.
Nice yin and yang.
I will say, when I was on Washington and we played the first time,
2015.
our defensive coaching staff would always say, like, "Hey, don't sleep on this motherfucker. Like, just because he's not like recognized with some of these other boys that are out there, like he's like the best tight end in the league. Like they're gonna feed him all game long. So, like, just because you don't recognize this, that, and the other, like he's a beast. So we have to game plan around him essentially,
Right.
just to feed on the whole, like, you know, the market that Tennessee had at one point in time.
When you play in a city like Nashville, an organization like Tennessee is so small, its fan base isn't as great as some of these other organizations. Now, as a Tennessee fan, I understand why that is frustrating.
Right.
I
Bites,
totally
it
get
stings.
Now, as a Tennessee fan, if you're listening to this, obviously a lot of you are. I understand why you're going to be mad about this, but don't forget about Delanie Walker was pivotal in the culture change at the Tennessee Titans. I got to see it firsthand. 2014, 2015, 2016, the way he handled himself. We were the shits. We were 2-14 and 3-13 the first 2 years I was there. That's 14 and 15. Delanie dominated those 2 years.
You had essentially the top three tight end in the game.
In December, when dudes were trying to pack it up and talk about their vacations, Delanie still came to work every single day, grinding through it, and was truly a fan favorite. I think when he says a not as good fan base, I think if Delanie said this again, he wouldn't say the fan base isn't good, because I do think the Tennessee Titans have a great fan base. There's no arguing that. The idea is the Titans 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017 had a really hard time getting off the ground from a national media level. So your fans, as strong and as awesome as they are, our best fans will go with the best fans of any organization.
So it's a smaller sample.
Yes. They've been around for a shorter amount of time. And so it's a smaller sample size. Kids now are growing up watching the Tennessee Titans. In 10 years and 15 years, people are going to, Tennessee is going to be one of the biggest fan bases because the trajectory they're on, what they're doing for the city, what's happened in the last 10 years at Tennessee. So I think that's what he's trying to get at. It's not the fans. He's saying the fan base isn't good. It's not him saying the fan base isn't good. He's saying the fan base is small in a different way. He's getting small and a not good fan base mixed up.
Right, which is valid. I mean, think if the boys go to the Super Bowl this year and you got all these people talking about the Tennessee Titans. All the locals, everybody else is going to be like, oh, everybody's a Titans fan now.
Yeah,
so then everybody want to have that pride then.
Right.
But then when you see a quote like this, obviously it stings a little bit, but there is some validity in it because Tennessee just hasn't been that household name year in and year out, especially recently.
And I think if there is a Super Bowl type thing, when Pro Bowl voting comes out in middle October or whenever it comes out, they say it's slotted into 3 different ways. It's fan votes, it's media votes, and it's coaches votes. So when fan votes come out during the course of the voting, they'll come out with, here are the top 10 tight ends voted for the Pro Bowl. Here are the top 10 tackles. Every year that I made the Pro Bowl, I was never in the top 10 of voting. I don't think it's a Titan thing. I don't think it's my play thing. I think it's when the fan base is smaller,
right?
But you guys are still super into it. You love it. It's not going to have the same reach or the same amount of votes as a Pittsburgh Steelers,
right?
Or the Patriots, who are in the last 20 years have dominated.
If you're in another fan base and you're voting, you think of, okay, who's a dominant O-lineman? You might think of media markets like the Cowboys, like who the Cowboys got on their O-line, and they might pick them. Right. It's like when you're out of this state and out of this market, it's like when you think of quarterbacks, you think of staple quarterbacks. You don't necessarily think of Ryan Tannehill unless you're in Tennessee. So I feel like that's where a lot of that comes from. So the fan voting this year,
we'll see.
Get that fan voting jumping, baby.
We'll see how the fan voting goes with this year. Those tier 1s.
Yeah.
Because here's the deal. You can vote more than once.
Right.
You can sit on that fucker all day and vote for 8 hours
the Bussin' Squad, dude?
Bussin' Squad's going to get after it. But you can see, if we did this podcast in 2014, this podcast would have probably never got off the ground.
Maybe not. Hey, don't sleep on the boys.
But I'm saying where the Titans were at, us being together in the Titans. Squad. I know, but I'm saying if we did this in 2014, goddamn, Will, this is all hypothetical.
I'm like teasing. I'm joking.
You're the guy.
Yeah, the popularity.
I got it.
He's still no, not.
But if we did this in 2014, 2015, it might not have the same push because the fan base has grown so much since then. The team has gotten so much better since then. When I got in the team in 14, I looked around the locker room and you don't know who's good, who's not. You're just in the league, so you think everybody's an all-star. Looking back, we really didn't have any dudes on that team that were household names. Like you look at the Titans locker room now, and you can look at a Kevin Byard, you can look at a Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, AJ Brown. You look at all these dudes, Julio Jones. You take all these guys, and it's like, how awesome is that? Bud Dupree from the Steelers. Well, super underrated D lineman. When you play against him, you gotta have your shit together when you play against him.
Yeah.
Those are the things that maybe if when Delanie was here in 14, 15, those things he might be viewed as one of the better tight ends of the last decade. He might have that chance to be in the Hall of Fame. I think if Delanie doesn't get hurt against the Dolphins, there was no sign of Delanie slowing down at all when he got hurt.
Yeah. He broke his leg, right?
Broke his leg, snapped that thing. It was tough.
That was tough. What did he say this on too? We want to credit the boys.
This was SB Nation.
Okay. SB Nation, Tennessee Titan community.
And so I think, I'd still love Delanie to be on the team. I think if Delanie's the type of dude, like Will and I used to joke about all the time, like the dude, if he didn't work out for a month, he'd still have a 6-pack, look great, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, he'd just be in the steam room
he's been grinding.
Fucking P90X.
And whatever team he goes to, he's going to do better than what the coaches and GMs think he's going to do. Because I think Delanie, he's old. He never showed signs of stopping. I don't know what the year off does. I've never taken a year off, right? I don't know what a year off of football does to you, but I think wherever Delanie goes, he's going to be super successful. Still one of my favorite players. And I think because I know Delanie so well, reading this doesn't hurt my feelings as a player on the Tennessee Titans. Because it's not what he said, it's how he said it, which is kind of the more the issue, right?
It's not what you said.
Well, it's like when we're sitting on this thing, we might say things they could easily be taken out of context when it's not where our heart was really at. That's why the media is such a dangerous thing,
right?
So I really hope.
I feel that.
I hope Titan fans can understand where he was coming from. Obviously, he said something about you got to win a Super Bowl to win get those accolades. I assume referring to the Hall of Fame. And then the guys they bring up Julio Jones, Tony Gonzalez, who's buddy from the Chargers who played forever, the tight end.
Antonio Gates.
Antonio Gates. Those type of guys are going to be in the Hall of Fame. He might still be playing. Shit, he might be around.
Played so goddamn long. Dude.
Yeah, forever. And he's obviously a Hall of Famer. So, I hope Delanie gets back in the league. I hope he makes Pro Bowls and I hope he makes Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I love the guy that much, man.
I hope you guys like this clip. If you want to continue to be for the boys, you need to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share with a friend, and check out our playlist. We have all the links right here on the screen. As always, biggest of hugs and tiniest of kisses. Also, go check out the full episodes, but always for the boys.